He's one of the best-known Swiss here in London. He has cooked for 8 prime ministers, 7 American presidents, and 4 generations of royals. He has written a cookbook on cuisine naturelle long before cooking with the freshest ingredients or free from oil and butter has become fashionable. Now at 75, Anton Mosimann has handed over the reins of his private dining clubs and his catering business to his 2 sons. So, what are his plans now? How distinct is the Swiss and British cuisine? And what is King Charles' favorite dish? Let's ask him. We are in front of your club, the Mosimann Club. You came to the UK a little bit more than, almost 50 years ago. Almost 50 years ago, to next year's anniversary. What made you leave Switzerland or decide why did you go to the United Kingdom?
I won a competition, a cookery competition in Switzerland. My first gold medal ever. And my first interview ever with a newspaper. And there was a man called Adrich Furrer, a gentleman, a real gentleman, Swiss, and he wrote to me and said, oh, congratulations for the gold medal. And the interview, I really enjoyed reading it. And he was, in those days, he was the kind of the artist of the cuisine. So he invited me for dinner to Zurich. And I said, no, oh my God, very, very nervous. And it took me about 6 months to find enough courage. So I went to Zurich and had dinner with him. And it was a very nice. And during dinner, we talked about books, cookery books. I was very impressed what he has to show me, what he had to show me. And 3 months later, Furrer got a phone call from the head chef from the Dorchester Hotel, Mr. Eugene Käufler from the Aargau. And he asked Furrer, because they were good friends since 50 years, said, Adrich, I need a successor. I had 3 already, but none of them made it. And Furrer said, yeah, Mosimann was here a few months ago, maybe you should call him. That's how I came to London. I mean, just incredible. I was very young, 28 years of age. I had 132 chefs in one kitchen. And I was one of the youngest. So that's where I lost my hair. But it was good fun, and it was worthwhile losing my hair as well.
So you went to Dorchester, and then, well, your career started in earnest, as you said, with so many chefs and such a big team. Eventually you had your first Michelin star, your second Michelin star, first Michelin star outside of France. How important are these Michelin stars?
It was the first hotel restaurant outside France with 2 stars.
Okay.
Yeah. It was fantastic. I mean, it was great. And in those days, it was very hard to get 1 star. You had to wait at least 1 year. Year and a half, maybe 2 years to get the first star, and then another year or 2 to get the second one. It was very tough. And yeah, we made it, and fantastic.
But how do you get a star? What does it take to get a star, or 2, let alone 2 stars?
Yeah, it's obviously, it's a fully committed commitment to the kitchen. I mean, you have to be there almost 24 hours a day, make sure you serve the best possible food constantly, not just one day, but every single day. And for a hotel restaurant, the Michelin was always kind of hesitant, because we had banquets for up to 500 people. Then you have 2 restaurants, you have room service 24 hours a day. Where is the head chef? So it's a good question. And that's why they're quite, in those days, we were hesitant to give a star or 2 to the hotel. But we made it, and I'm still very proud. When I left the Dorchester, I also left the stars behind, because I opened my private dining club, and there you don't get any stars. So Michelin wrote to me right away, said, oh, Anton, congratulations, but sorry, we can't give you any stars, or except you open it to public. And I had to think for about 2 weeks, and yes, no, maybe, whatever. And eventually I said, no, I'll keep it as a private club. So I left my stars behind. In my heart, they're still here.
When you arrived here, as we said, almost 50 years ago, British food was quite different than it is today. If you look back in terms of how British food was when you arrived to what it is now, what's the main difference?
Yeah, I give you just one example. I was challenged by BBC. The producer said, oh, I have an idea, he said. I got a challenge for you. why don't you come and cook for a basic working family up north, north of England? I said, yes, why not? Without even thinking. Anyway, long story. I had £10 in my pocket to go to the market. 7 people, 4 adults, 3 children. One of the dishes I cooked was Savoy cabbage, the green cabbage, the Wirsing, nice, beautiful. And I cooked mine for 4 minutes. And Margaret, the lady of the house, said, Anton, what? 4 minutes? That's all? I cooked my cabbage for 4 hours. The same cabbage. Those were the days. The longer you cook it, the better it sounded. It was different.
Okay. And obviously you are known in Switzerland for being the chef of the rich and famous, but particularly for the royals. You've cooked for 4 generations of the royal family. How is your view on the royal family in terms of their choices of gastronomy? What do they like?
Her Majesty the Queen Mother, she came to the Dorchester quite often. And she loved my food because it was a bit of Japanese, a bit of Italian. It was very light, very fresh, beautifully presented. And she loved it. Each time she went back to her home, to St. Claren's house, and asked her chef to write to me for the recipes. That was, of course, a great compliment for me. And that went on for years and years. And then the Queen herself, many times, and Prince Charles, oh my God, yes, since 35 years. Sometimes we cook 3 or 4 dinners a week at one of his palaces. Again, great honor, and it's just a fantastic feeling to enter Buckingham Palace or Highgrove or Windsor Castle, and do the cooking. And of course, then the wedding for William and Kate, which was such an honor. I mean, I'm sure there were hundreds of chefs waiting for that phone call to come. And I got it, so yes, I'm very proud.
No, and I think rightly so, and we are proud to have a chef like this here in London. Can you say what's the favorite dish of King Charles?
They like good food. I'm always very, very careful, but he's very, he's a fantastic person. I mean, hardworking, and of course he entertains a lot, and you have to adjust a bit. The food has to be light, has to be fresh, obviously, has to be most of it from his own farm, from Highgrove, and he loves that.
And so is there any from the prominent, from the presidents or prime ministers that you cook for, or is there a special personality that says that was very unique to be able to cook for that person?
There's so many. I mean, it's just incredible. I've been extremely lucky. I mean, Mrs. Thatcher, she entertained President Mitterrand at the time. So I cooked for the President, and she said, oh, by the way, he likes veal steak or chanterelle, with the mushroom sauce. And I said, Madam, no problems, with great pleasure. I cooked it, everything went well. And there was Mrs. Thatcher, Miss Dennis, and she came to us and said, oh, Anton, that was a fantastic meal you produced for the President and myself, but very expensive. Typical Mrs. Thatcher, And then I cooked for 7 presidents at number 10 Downing Street. So, Mr. Chirac, and again, he came out of the meeting, he said, oh, chefs, he said, the meeting was not very good, but the food was excellent. Also, Jimmy Carter, I cooked for him a dinner in Atlanta for 400 people for a charity. And there were 2 desserts. One was lemon tart and bread and butter pudding. And he himself, he had the bread and butter pudding. And he loved it so much. So after dinner, he asked for me to compliment me on this wonderful dessert. And he said, oh, it was the best dessert I ever had. Could I have a doggy bag? So there we are.
I have a few quick fire questions. When and where did you last cook?
That's a good question. I cooked for Monsieur Berset just a couple of weeks ago. And that was fantastic. It was in Switzerland. And it was a party of about 20 people. And he was hosting the dinner.
At which London restaurants did you last eat?
Yesterday, actually, we went to Chinese. There's a place in Earl's Court, and there's a very good dim sum. So on a Sunday lunchtime, quite often, we go there for a dim sum meal.
What was the biggest event that you were catering for? How many people?
The biggest so far was for 1,400 people for Prince Philip's 70th birthday party in Windsor Castle.
Okay.
1,400 people. Incredible.
You know what struck me was I was invited to a TV program before the funeral of the late Queen, and there was a butler invited, there's a Swiss butler, and she was giving her experience from working at the royal household. I didn't explicitly ask her, but she said spontaneously she had worked with so many chefs and at so many events for the Queen. She said the nicest chef was Anton Mosimann by far. And this is not just the quality of food, but also the way you manage these things, big events, stressful. He was never stressed. He was always very well behaved, very kind, and so I just wanted to pass on this as a compliment as well, to manage big events like this, and in a way you do it. So it's.
I will send you some flowers.
Okay. What's the perfect Swiss-British fusion food?
You know, I mean, the rösti, as we all know, it's always a typical Swiss, and it's actually quite amazing how many times you can use it.
Yeah.
Or even bangs and mash. You know, there's a bangs and mash, typical British. Instead of mash, you use rösti, so that's fine too.
Is there a Swiss ingredient that you're missing here in the UK?
Schapziger.
Schapziger.
I love Schapziger. I mean, I have it every single day.
Yeah.
On with salad, on my salad, or with pasta, whatever. In my fridge, you always find Schapziger wherever I am. Right. In Switzerland or on holiday, or I can't live without Schapziger. Okay. Let's put it this way.
Now you said we were just cooking dinner for the Swiss president. Officially, you are retired. You handed over the club to your son, the catering business to another son. What are the plans? I
opened a museum in Switzerland, a cookery museum, with 6,000 cookery books, and some of them go back to 500 years. It's really a unique collection. Lots of old menus, and it's part of a hotel school called Cesaritz, and they have 300 plus students. So I'll be there almost every day, sorting out lots of papers, but also talking to the students, motivate them, inspire them. The museum hosts, next to the books, 120 diplomas, which I won over the years, and 50 gold medals, 50 beautifully displayed, and 265 black and white photographs of famous and well-known people. Right. So we're very, very lucky. But for the students, if they go around, they say, wow, look at this, look at this. You know, they see Pele, they see lots of presidents, they see royal family, members of the royal families, and say, wow, if the 50 gold medals, of course, if Mosimann can do it, I can do it.
Okay. And what's the key message that you give them?
Yeah, you know, the message is it's a wonderful profession. The sun doesn't always shine. There's a bit of rain, there's sometimes a bit of hail or thunderstorms, but that's life. Yeah. Just go for it. If you believe in it, there's nothing nicer than going after dinner, after meal, you're going to see your guests smiling, happy because of your food. Right. And I think that's a very important message. Yes. So go for it, and it's a nice, lovely profession.
Then I think you can see what you do. You see the products.
Yeah, but that's one thing, sure. But you have to, if you cook a good meal today, you have to do the same thing tomorrow. Yes. You know, a painter, he paints a beautiful painting. It's there for life. Right. Each time he passes by, wow, that's my work. When I cook a meal, it's gone by a few hours later. True. So you have to be so motivated to do the same thing again, the same quality, the same standard, the same presentation the day after. Yeah.
Well, this was my talk with Anton Mosimann, the Swiss chef here in London. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much, Anton, for being here and doing the fun.
It's a great honor as well. Thank you very much for asking me.
Thank you.